Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how I created a website layout using CSS. The end product is going to look somewhat like this. Okay, so basically what we're going to be working on today is the background image you see here, which is a wood background with some rope. We're going to be working on creating this container out here that houses your banner, your navigation menu, your main elements, your main content, and your footer. So that's basically what we're going to be working on today. This layout is a very basic website template and should help you feel more comfortable with CSS and experimenting with website layouts. Okay, so to get started, what we're going to do is we're going to open Dreamweaver, and we're going to open an HTML document, and it's a plain document as you can see here. And in order to start first, what we're going to do is make sure that first we save the document. That way we never lose any information and we can continue to save as we go along. So we're going to save as, and I'm going to save it as farm number 2. That way I don't confuse it with my other actual website that's already completed. So I'm going to hit save. Okay. Sorry, it's just waiting for my server. Okay, that took a while. So here we are. We've already have it saved, and I'm going to give this a title, and I'm going to call it Living on the Farm. And I'm going to hit save again just to make sure that everything is saved. Alright. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start off by creating our container, which is this big box out here. Alright, all this. And what I like to think of the container is almost like a shoebox. And you keep things inside this shoebox, and in order to keep things inside nicely laid out, you need to first have a shoebox. So what we're going to do is we're going to create that, and the way we do that is I'm going to, as you can see, we have a split window here. I'm just going to come over here to my design window. There's nothing here, and I'm going to go to Insert, Layout Objects. I'm going to create a div tag, and this div tag is going to have a class name, and I'm going to call it container, or you can call it a shoebox if you like. And you're not going to hit OK yet. What you're going to do is you're going to create a new CSS rule, and it's an HTML element dot container. And over here is very important that you make sure that it's an outside style sheet, a new style sheet file. Press OK, and then you're going to press OK, and you're going to make sure that you save it as something, and it's going to be routed to your URL. So I'm going to name mine farm style sheet. I'm going to save that to my unnamed site, which is my root folder. Save. Now here is our categories, and you know, we can basically make our box, we could give it a background color, we could give it a border, whatever we like. But what I'm going to be working with today generally is going to be the box category. And the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I give my box, my container, a width and a height. And it's going to be a fixed width and a fixed height. And it's a very basic template in order to just kind of get your feet wet with website layouts. So today I'm going to be working with a 1000 width and a height of 1000. Okay, and I'm going to press OK on that, and I'm going to press OK. As you can see, I've created my container right in here. Now it says content for class container goes in here. So I'm going to get rid of that text. And I have my cursor inside my div container. Okay. And now what we need to do is I need to be able to make sure that I'm in this container in order to put inside it my first element. And that element is going to be a div tag that is going to be able to call up my banner. I'm going to give a section for my banner. I'm going to give a section for my navigation menu. I'm going to give a section for my main menu and my footer. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go to, right now while my cursor's still inside, it says div.container. Inside my container, I am going to go to insert again, layout objects, div tag, and I am going to create a div tag for my banner. So I want to call it header. Again, new CSS rule, don't press OK, new CSS rule, it's class HTML element dot header, and over here we need to make sure that we call up that form style sheet 2 that we just created, and press OK. Now I'm going to go to the box menu, and I want to give it the width of 1000 because that's the same width as my container. So I want to make sure that it's the same width. Now the height, I'm going to give it 200 because I know my banner is a lot smaller than that, and it just fits perfectly for my banner. Now this is the most important part right here. We're going to make sure that we float to the left, otherwise it won't work. So make sure that we float to the left. And I want to give this a background color, so I'm going to give it a background color of white because that's what I want to work with. You're not going to be able to really see it here right now just because the other background is also white, so you'll be able to see other colors. Okay, so you press OK, and you're going to press OK. And as we can see, I've created my header within my container. So I want to get rid of this text. Now my cursor, I'm inside my div header. I don't want to be there. I want to actually be outside of it in order to be able to create my next container. So how do we do that? What we do is we highlight this container. Sorry. There. We highlight the container. We go to our keyboard and we hit the right button again. The keyboard and the right button, and that pulls us out of the containers, both the div container and any elements within it. So once we're outside over here, we can go back to insert, layout objects, div tag, and I want to create my next div element is going to be for my navigation menu, so I'm going to call it nav, new CSS rule, .nav, form style sheet 2, make sure that it's there, and press OK. Now I want to create the width. I want it to be 200 width, and I want it to be a height of 600 because I want to make sure that it's just elongated over to the side over here. So then I want to make sure that the float is to the left, and I'm going to press OK. Going to press OK. As you can see, it's still white, and I actually want to give it a color. And the reason why I chose not to use that other background is because I wanted to show you how to use this toolbar right here, which is our CSS styles toolbar. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to go over here to this little pencil where it says edit rule, and now we're back into this CSS rule definition tools. I'm going to go to background and give it a color, and the color I have chosen for this is nice little aqua blue color that I really like. And now, while I have my navigation element highlighted, I'm going to take advantage of going to my keyboard and hitting the right button so that I can be able to create my main content element div tag. So I'm going to go to Insert, Layout Objects, Div Tag. I'm going to give this class name of main because that's where all my main content is going to be located. So I'm going to give it a new CSS rule, and it's .main. Make sure that it's on form style sheets that we created before. Press OK. Now the box of the width, obviously I already used 200 out of the 1000, so all I have left is 800. And the height, I want it to be the same as my navigation, so I'm going to give that a 600. I'm going to make sure that it's floating to the left, and I'm going to give it a background color, and the background color I chose is this nice chocolate color. And I'm going to press OK and OK, and there we go. Get rid of that content that's there. Now my cursor once again is inside this main div tag, and you can see because it's highlighted right on here, so we don't want that. So I want to make sure that I highlight this. Okay, it's highlighted now. I go to my keyboard and I hit right, and now I'm outside of all the tags, of all the containers and everything. And I want to be able to go to Insert, Layout Objects, Div Tag. I'm going to give this is going to be for my footer, so I'm going to give this a div class of footer. That way when I call it, I know that I'm talking about my footer. And we're going to create a new CSS rule. Make sure it's the form style sheet too. Again, press OK. And now we're going to go to box. Now the width, I wanted to make sure that it's the same width as my container, so I'm going to give that a 1000. And the height, all I have left, obviously, I used 600 for my navigation and menu and main element, and I used 200 for my header, so all I have left is 200 out of the 1000. And I'm going to make sure it's float to the left, and I'm going to press OK. Alright, and press OK. Once again, I actually left this white and I really want it to be color, so I'm going to highlight it. Okay, and go over here, go back to background colors, and color I chose, this orangey caramel color. There we go. Alright, so we have our container with all our div tags inside of it, and what I want to be able to do right now is I want to be able to show you how we can create the background image that we see here. We want to make sure that's there, and how we create how we make our container sit basically right in the middle of our web screen, because it needs to be sitting nicely in the middle. So I'm going to show you how to do that in CSS. Basically, the first thing we do, we're here with the container. I'm going to call the body, all right, of my website, and I just type in body, and I'm going to call up the background image that I want for it. So going to background image, and I'm going to browse for that in my computer because it is housed in there, and it's right here. I'm going to choose that. Obviously it's not going to be the same, so and the next thing I want to do, I want to make sure that it's float none, and I want to make sure that the background is set to repeat, because just in case there's different size screens, and also in case that your container ends up having to be a little bigger or larger, you're going to take up more screen space. So we want to make sure that our background is always sort of set to repeat, specifically for that reason, just in case that the background image is not wide enough or big enough to kind of cover the entire screen. So I'm going to do background, background repeat, and I'm going to do repeat. And then the size I am going to choose is landscape, and the reason why I'm choosing landscape is because most of our screen sizes today are landscape size, so I'm going to use that. Okay, and then I close my CSS code. Now the next thing I want to make sure is that I want my container, okay, to sit nicely in the middle, as you see here. Both sides are evenly distributed. So what I'm going to do is I have to work with my container. In order to do that, you have to put float none, and you have to give it a margin of the left to auto, and you have to give it a margin to the right of auto, and that's basically it. Now what we do is we save these, okay, and we save that. Make sure we save. Oops, sorry, just did that. Okay. Okay. So what we do next is we go to our CyberDuck, and we're going to upload these to our AFS server. So you go where you have your documents uploaded, and mine are here. So I basically would just click and drag onto here, which I've already done previously. And once they're all uploaded onto here, you can check your site, and I will do that by calling up my site. And we'll see what we just created. You see, this is what we just created, and there you have it. This is basically a very basic website layout, and you can start feeling a little more comfortable and maybe playing around with the look of the inside of your container. Maybe instead of making your navigation menu longwise, you can make it this way, or maybe you can set your navigation menu off to your right hand side. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you. Bye bye.